Kana Lake by Andrea Cubis. Painted at Parc National Opémican, Quebec, Canada. So this is the second painting that I did on our trip, kind of going around Ontario and Quebec. And this park has a beautiful lake right at the front of it where the visitor center is. And the visitor center overlooks it with this beach, and you'll see that dock in behind where I'm painting. And it's this great view out to the hilly, treed areas that are surrounding the lake. What I had decided to paint were some old buildings that were on the side of the lake. And these old buildings were actually used for the lumber trade long time ago in this area, because this lake was a great entry point for them to put the lumber into the lake, and they'd actually create them into these booms. And one boat could take 300,000 trees worth of wood at once using these booms. And the buildings that I took the painting of is where they would build those booms. So it's quite a phenomenal space historically, as well as it's really a nice picture. There's actually 3 buildings that you'll see I'm painting here. The white one is where the booms were made, and then the 2 others, one is where the blacksmith worked. I'll be honest, I think the 3rd one is a shed. But it looked really nice. Now here's the downside, and you can see right here in the painting, it started to rain on my first day, and boy did it rain. And this is the downside of painting on site, is you are subject to the weather that's going to happen. So I had to quickly pack up, because obviously the rain would wreck what I was painting, and I had to come back the next day. The downside to that is my lighting was completely different the next morning. As you can see, the sky is a beautiful blue color the second day, and I had already painted in a very gray sky from the day before. But other than that, I just kept on going. To get the trees in the background, I alternated between blues and greens and yellows to give some good texture. And then when I came forwards, I used a different shade of green so that those trees would stand out from the other trees in the background. The hard part, of course, was the buildings, because the buildings, if you got the dimensions wrong or the perspective wrong, they just look really funny. I think for the most part, I did get them the right way. I used on the roof shades of grays and white with a mix of kind of a orangish color to create that rusty look that those roofs had. Then to come and do the wood paneling on the sides of the building, they were gray with white paint on it, and obviously the paint has been peeling off. So I started off with a dark gray, and then I came in with some lighter touches on top of that to show where the paint was still in there. Now, funny story, I hadn't actually gone over to where the buildings were before I painted them. I painted them first, and then I went over to visit them. And you're gonna see, right now I'm painting a bridge, which I thought was a really cute bridge connecting the big white building out front where the booms were made and the other 2 buildings. But come to find out, there is no bridge there. And I guess this is why you should go over and see what you're painting before you actually paint it. What it was is they had caution tape up around a really old boat so that kids wouldn't climb all over this antique. Had I gone over there, I probably just wouldn't have painted that section at all. Instead, I added a whole bridge to my painting, which is, it's fine. It blends in quite nicely and it looks very pretty. It's just, if you come to the park, you're not going to find that bridge because it doesn't exist there. I found doing the boom building very hard because it was a lot of white on white on white on white. And I was trying to show different shading, and to do that I mixed in blue, but I just didn't want a light blue. So I also added some orange to it to give it a more grayish color than blue. I did this backwards. I realized I should have done the background before I did the white building. Next time, maybe we'll see if I've learned from my mistakes. You'll also see I obviously press too hard when I paint at times because my painting kept moving away from me. But we pulled it back and got it going. It's all good. As you'll see, the trees, I tried to make sure they looked like pine trees, and in doing that I kept my brush strokes going upwards. If you look at a lot of pine tree boughs, they generally arch upwards, whereas your more deciduous trees will pull downwards. So I'm hoping I was able to pull that off. Lastly, I came in and I did the reflection in the water, and I think for the most part you can see how those buildings and the trees reflected in the water in this painting. As I came close to the end of my painting, I was very fortunate to have a lovely visitor. My son David decided to drop by and see that I was okay, because I got really into my painting and completely lost track of time, and I missed lunch altogether. So you're gonna soon see him pop in, because we all know my son loves to be on a video, and as soon as he saw that I was recording, he made sure he was a part of my video. And there he is. Thank you so much for watching yet another video of mine. I hope you come back. This is Kana Lake in Quebec, and I hope you come and see it for yourself.